Anyway, we have one more update from the folks. We haven't talked about this in a few weeks, but Earl Webb from Knoxville, Tennessee. I guess I gave his, well, that may be an assumed name because he has a different name on his email address, but it says Earl Webb, Knoxville, Tennessee. Anyway, hello, Jim and Brian. I've heard the stories from fellow cult members, and I had to tell my own Hogan's Beach Shop story that happened in the beginning of May, and this was written about, oh gosh, maybe 2 months ago now. My wife and I are big wrestling fans, and we wanted to check out Hogan's Beach Shop. Shockingly, compared to other stories, Ron didn't immediately pester us about crazy topics. It wasn't until I unfortunately asked him a question about one of Hulk Hogan's weight belts they had for sale. I asked, was this weight belt ring-worn by Hogan? This was his reply. It's not just ring-worn. Hogan wore that belt against Ric Flair and Roddy Piper in the same night. It's the most historic weight belt in wrestling. It's the It's the rarest weight belt in history. You can take a picture holding it for $40, but I'll let you do it for $35 each. I politely declined, knowing what was slowly beginning, and told my wife we should get going. Before she could speak, Ron noticed her shirt and began to spiral into a long rant. Her shirt said, "My body, my choice." Ron's response was, abortion is something the government insists upon because they're trying to clone the perfect American into a robotic slave to serve their personal needs. Really, COVID-19 was created in China for population control. The government is even paying farmers to burn crops and destroy fields so the middle class slowly dies. Soon, hybrid clones will remain, made straight from the lab in China. If you don't believe me, watch it on Newsmax. They have the full story there. This was all said before my wife could speak. I said nothing and started to walk away, but he kept going with roughly, Trump lost the election due to knowing too much about this. They hacked into the voting systems and made Joe Biden the president. Soon we'll live in a world of slavery, and masks were just the beginning of our oppression. By the year 2024, all who had the vaccine will be activated and turned into cyborg-like clones while everyone else is replaced. That's why they are taking away guns, because they don't want the working class to fight back. Soon we'll have no rights at all.
Wait, so we're not going to coexist with the clones? We're going to actually be replaced by the clones?
I think they're replacing all the people who had the vaccine. That's why the only people who aren't going to be replaced are the people who didn't get vaccinated, because they're all going to be fucking dead. But anyway, Earl of Knoxville, again with another wonderfully captivating and informative interaction with Ron Howard, the manager of Hogan's Beach Shop down there in Florida.
The Earl of Knoxville.
Well, that's true. He could be the Earl of Knoxville.
Why not?
And then you could have the Count of Cherokee County and whatever the case. All righty then.
The Count of Chattanooga.
Is it? Actually, there was a Duke of Paducah.
I did not know that. No.
He was a country music, the Duke of Paducah. He was a country music star in the 50s and 60s. Paducah, Kentucky, for those of you outside the contiguous United States. It's a quiet little hamlet out there in western Kentucky, and the Duke of Paducah and that's what every time Christine Jarrett, every time she'd see this one guy that used to come to some of the spot shows out in around the Evansville area in western Kentucky, down across the state line, obviously. He had this giant cowboy hat and this spangly Glenn Campbell rhinestone cowboy outfit that he would wear, and he looked like he could be a department store Santa Claus in the holiday time because he had long gray hair and this big old long beard. He must have been 275 pounds and in cowboy boots. And he'd come into the show and Teeny would say, well, look, here comes the Duke of Paducah. I guess it was funnier when you were looking at him.